Welcome back to Good Girls Gotta Heal, the podcast where we learn to release the weight of childhood trauma and step into our most authentic selves. It's time to ditch that good girl mask and embrace a life of ease, compassion, and genuine connection. Join me, Megan Walsh, holistic trauma therapist, and let's embark on a journey of healing and self-discovery together. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Good Girls Gotta Heal. I am Megan, your host, and today is going to be a solo episode. It has been a while since I have recorded a solo episode. I want to own that, and I want to extend my appreciation to you for being here, for continuing to listen and tune in as we have brought in so many beautiful guests to have interviews. And I also know I am feeling like I am missing this more personalized, connected conversation with you. So we are bringing some solo episodes back in to be able to talk more deeply and in depth on a whole range of topics like we do here. And one thing, I want to check in and I'm like assessing myself, right? As a therapist, I'm like, why has it been that I have not done a solo episode in a while? And I think that is for a few reasons. Number one, I have needed, the time and space in the past few months to really ground myself and heal from and you may have read, I wrote an essay on this on my Substack, but healing from an ectopic pregnancy that came after 3 previous losses. So in our attempts to expand our family and bring another child into the world, it has been quite a rocky ride. And, when the early losses that I had earlier in the year were, horrible, devastating. But then the ectopic was much harder because it involved a surgery, kind of unexpected, and, recovery, and it was just quite a lot. So I am giving myself compassion, right, for doing the very best that I could to heal, to show up for my clients, and to show up, obviously, for my family, for my son, and, really just kind of be able to make it through. And you know what? I'm pretty proud of myself. I feel like I did a very good job at that. And of course, right, part of that involved pulling back in various areas of my life and, doing the very best that I could. And so I think that involved having to take a step back from solo episodes here and even solo intros. And I feel like I've had enough time and space of grounding to really step back into it. And I'm just really grateful to be here with you too. Thank you all for all of the warm support and, just comforting words that many of you have shared with me, and just grateful for it, truly. Also, exciting news to share. This year has been one of both and, right? Really, really hard news and really exciting news too. That I have signed a book deal with Harper One, which is an imprint of HarperCollins, a Big 5 publisher. And let me tell you, this was one of the most unexpected, but on a list, right? On a list of things that I had wanted to bring into this year. And the fact that it happened is just beyond my wildest dreams, truly. This book is going to be really based on my signature framework, which is around we are going inward first, right? First and foremost, we are looking inward to understand ourselves, why we are the way we are, the missing needs that our inner child has. How do we attune to our inner child? Really spending a lot of time there, understanding that, and then bringing it out into our current relationships. This is the framework that I use in my Evolve program and everything that I teach, because this is how we heal. We have to go inward in order to shift what is happening externally in our relationships. So this is the framework of the book, and it's going to come with pieces of my story. It's going to come with fictional vignettes of client stories that are going to be combinations of types of clients that I've worked with over the course of my career. And I'm just so thrilled to have this book written. Ideally will be done by April, and then ideally in your hands in 2027. So hang with me, and I can't wait to get this book to you, and just again appreciate all of your support and encouragement in that as well. A lot happening in my world, a lot going on this year. And so I'm glad to be here to update you, because I do want to give much more time and attention and love to this space that I can, because I love this space so much. I love chatting with other experts, clinicians, and I want to also start sharing some of your stories too. So I think it's so nice and relatable to be able to hear how other people are managing this healing work, and that's something we're going to bring in to these episodes in the new year too. So that's the personal update. Thank you all for being here. Truly, I'm just so grateful to have you in this community. And I asked for a couple of questions. I'd love to answer your questions. So I'm going to open this up more often to bring in some of your questions and things that you are working on, and we're going to chat about them here. So a first question that I have today is how to distinguish when you are trying to control someone versus caring for them. Ooh, great question, because so many of us who might identify as more type A, good girls, get everything done. We love control. We love control. And I know that many people in our lives see that as, you are trying to control me, right? Why are you telling me what to do? Let me do it myself. When we may be like, well, but I feel safer when I do it. And you might not have that word safer, but that's really what's happening, is that usually the need for control comes from a coping mechanism that you learned early on that said, if I do it, if I take care of it, if I can be in charge of it, then it will be done in a way where I feel safe, where I feel connected, where I feel grounded. And so I know what is so hard oftentimes for partners, friends, families to see is that when we are saying, no, I want it done this way, or it has to be done this way, we're not trying to control someone else. We're actually seeking safety inside of ourselves. And so the real work there is to figure out, okay, how can I give away a bit of control to someone else and still find safety? I know for me, this was hardest when my son was a newborn, and, that mama instinct in me just, wanted to do everything, to take care of everything, even though my husband is so capable and totally able to step in and to do the parenting work. I had a harder time of releasing some control there. And that was, it was a conversation that we had often, of that I needed to release control for him to be able to have the opportunity to cultivate his own relationship with our son. And of course, is understand himself as a parent. And just because I may have had more experience working with kids and babies and infants, and my husband didn't have a whole lot of that before we had our son, just because of that didn't mean that he was not capable of learning and being able to step into the role of dad, of parent. And so I really had to learn of, like, I got to step back, let him learn, because we only learn by doing. And of course, as a parent too, right? Like, there is so much rooted in control and safety, of like, I just want to make sure everything is happening in this way to make sure that my son is most safe. And right now, as a spunky 3-year-old, I really have to let him, right? I have to let him explore. I have to let him do things on his own. I have to let him figure out how to explore the world, because, right, this is his world, and he needs to learn to trust himself. So I have to manage and regulate my own fears, my own worries, my own discomforts, in order to ensure that he is being able to learn and grow and explore in a way that is so developmentally needed and appropriate for him. Obviously, we have healthy boundaries around all of this, but it's just when it comes to control and someone else is feeling controlled by you, I would ask for you to check in. What are you afraid of? Where are you feeling unsafe? And how can we learn to find some safety within yourself while letting them be able to explore in their own way? Because we know that the control piece there, it is care, right? It's, I love you so much, I don't want this to go wrong. And I love you so much, I don't want anything bad to happen. So I want to control it. And maybe sometimes naming that is helpful out loud too, of like, hey, I know that I maybe have been maybe a bit, I'm trying to choose words that are not shaming words, what I would probably say is like, hey, I know that I may have been a little intense here. And it just comes from a place where I'm just worried and I love you and I care about you and I want everything to go okay. And I trust you. I trust you. I know that you can do it. So I hope that is helpful. And please take that and apply it to your circumstance in the way that feels most aligned and right for you. Okay, and here we are with another question. Oh, I love this one. What is the hardest part about being a trauma therapist? Oh, such a good question. There aren't many people say to me, oh my gosh, like, how do you listen to, such hard, challenging, difficult stories all day? And, it's not, that doesn't feel hard for me, actually. And to me, that is a beautiful gift because I know that when I'm listening and I'm attuning and I'm offering presence for someone's hard story, I am offering them something that is so profoundly needed, which is, right, a really empathetic, compassionate, supportive witness that so many of us did not get growing up. And so to me, it's not about the intensity of the content of the story. It's about, hey, I see you. I hear you. That was a lot. That was hard. Oh, I want to give you so much compassion right now. And the act of that, that is everything. That brings just so much meaning to the work in the most beautiful way. And so I would say that I think that is not a hard part, actually. But what is a hard part? I know that this work, it takes so much time, right? It takes so much time to begin to rewire our brains, right? To be able to fully believe that I am worthy, I am capable, I am loved just as I am good enough, I am, right? That is the viewpoint that I have for everyone that I work with. And maybe sometimes I might sit with oh, right, I want to impart that into you right away. And I know that the journey, the healing work, it takes time. I'm 17 years into my journey. I'm still on it, right? It's never ending. It takes a lot of time. So I find maybe sometimes I would love to just inject so much compassion and care and a really positive sense of self-worth. Sometimes I wish that could be just injected into everybody right away, immediately. And so the hardest part is knowing that doesn't happen, right? It takes time. And so it is just, again, a beautiful gift that I get to show up and be present with so many beautiful individuals for years. Truly, that's the most beautiful gift, is just everyone that I've been able to be with, work with, walk along this journey with for such a beautiful amount of time. So, yeah. And I also want to talk a little bit about, you may have listened to Oprah's episode of her podcast on family estrangement, going no contact with a parent. And, I found it to be a very interesting episode. There were pieces that I liked. There were pieces that were a little concerning to me. So maybe let's start with what were the pieces that were, we'll start with what I liked. I liked in this episode that this, number one, that this was a conversation to be had, because this is a conversation that has been had on the internet for a long time now, right? It's a piece that I dive into and so many therapists and others dive into, and it's a really heated topic, right? It's such a heated topic because it's all about relationships. It's about feelings. It's about hurt. It's about pain. It's about not feeling seen and attuned to. Truly, it is a topic around intergenerational trauma. It truly is, because I know every parent that was unable to attune to their own kids did not get the attunement that they needed growing up. And here we are on this cultural moment, this cultural shift, where this generation is collectively saying, hey, we're not going to sign up, or we're setting a boundary around dynamics that don't make us feel safe, right? Where we don't feel seen and heard, where there's no repair after conflict. And so again, this is such an important conversation to be had. And I appreciate Oprah for bringing it to us. And there were 3 therapists on as well who were offering their insights and opinions. And I love that we got to hear the stories of many individuals who had to make the really hard choice to go no contact with a family member. And it's precisely that, right? This is a very difficult choice that is not made lightly. It's usually made when every effort has been made to create a healthy relationship. And right? The parent just cannot offer the child that safe emotional attunement that the child has always needed. And so there's so much nuance, so much complexity into the conversation, and where I think the episode may have missed the mark just a little bit is around, number one, calling it a trend. It's not a trend, right? This, again, it's not a trend. It is a really painstaking decision that comes from a lot of anguish, a lot of sadness and pain. And nobody wants to make this, right? Have to make this choice. Nobody does. It's really hard when it has to come to this. It's really painful. So I think a trend really belittles someone's experience. I would shift that in the title. Additionally, there was talk around this being a conflict resolution issue on the point of the child, when really, right, who is supposed to teach healthy conflict resolution is the parent. And I think there was a lack of exploration around parents needing to be the ones to model this for their kids. And sure, they may not have known back then, but there needs to be an ownership that was their job, that was their job as a whole, right? That they're the mirrors. They're the mirrors growing up. I am in it right now. I am the emotional mirror for my son. I hear him talking to himself often around being able to say, it's okay, Michael, try again. Or like he's literally repeating my voice to himself, right? Or Michael, make a safe choice, right? Like my voice is his experience of self, right? It is the way that he creates his own understanding, his ability to navigate conflict resolution, right? And our favorite thing this day is like, how can we make this better next time? So he'll come to me, say, Mama, how do we make this better next time? If he had a meltdown, or if, right, he's upset over a boundary, he's learned from me, right? That this is how we move forward. It's the parent's job. So that was missing, I think, inside of the episode. But I would highly recommend tuning in. I'm so curious what you think. Would love to have more of a conversation about it. And overall, I look forward to having more conversations with you and bringing that into these episodes. So send me a message. Please tell me what you want to hear. I would love to learn more from you and to bring more of what you want and need into this space. So grateful for you. So grateful for you. We have a few more really beautiful guests coming up in December. And I can't wait to even, bring this podcast to new heights and dive deeper and explore as we step into 2026. So thank you all for being here. Wishing you a beautiful rest of your day and week. And I will see you back here next week. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Good Girls Gotta Heal. I am so grateful to have you in this community. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review. That helps us out greatly. And we'll see you next time.